about double standards is usually said in relation to gender equality. Double standards simply means a difference in principle between two groups or people. It is what is seen as acceptable for one group is not seen as acceptable for the other, and vice versa. Double standard parenting is a difference in parenting styles between girls and boys, and a difference in values instilled into them. A girl's value is usually measured by how well they can cook or clean. Girls are taught to be quiet and emotional, while boys, on the other hand, are taught to be loud, proud, and play sports. Boys playing rough sports is something praised and accepted in society, which causes it to be something that many boys aim to do and feel less than when they can't do it. While when a girl does rough sports, it is something seen as unladylike or inappropriate. It is something not encouraged from childhood for them because parents don't want them to sustain any injuries, which is not seen as an issue for boys. The values instilled at a young age form the way we operate as adults. Double standards like this are the reason we have so many drastic statistics today. About 80 to 90% of people with eating disorders, such as bulimia and anorexia, are women. One of the main reasons for eating disorders is low self-esteem or body image issues. As children, girls are taught to put very high values in their looks and size. Small comments such as, "You need to wear this so you can look pretty," or "It is important to value your beauty," causes girls to fixate on their appearances, which in turn causes them to grow up to be insecure women that think all they have to give the world is their beauty. For boys, double standard parenting affects them as well. Learning that emotions are a sign of weakness or that it is not manly to cry affects them in the long run. When boys are encouraged to be rough and tough, but discouraged to be emotional and feminine, this causes them to be less attached to their emotions as adults. We as humans are emotional beings. Emotions help us make decisions that care for both ourselves and others. Not being taught to be emotionally competent can relate to how most violent crimes are done by men. About 90% of homicides worldwide are committed by men. This statistic is an example of how double standard parenting affects boys' moral standpoints. As a child myself, I noticed these subtle differences in my environment. How it is shocking that the boy can cook anything past Indomie, or how a girl always has to be perfect and clean at all times. I see how in families it is a daughter that is clean and put to high standards, while the sons get told the same phrase, "Boys will be boys." I watch as my friends complain about how they are treated differently from their brothers and how it takes a toll on them mentally. It's not just me that notices these things as a child. When I asked a group of people in my class, I got similar data. Girls said that they had experienced double standard parenting in forms of preferential treatments, teaching of different skills such as cooking, and putting girls and boys in different standards. All of them agreed that double standard parenting with widespread issue that negatively affected both boys and girls. In the long run, one of them even brought up a valid point of how parents teach us contradicting views. They teach daughters to be smaller and fear men, while they teach boys to be unapologetic and free. Teaching girls to be small and repress themselves, in her opinion, adds on to how a majority of people with anxiety are women. Another girl talked on culture and how in Igbo culture, it is the boy that is favored and seen as expected in the family. She thinks this causes parents to neglect their daughters. In total, they all came to the same base point, that parents need to discard this primitive way of double standard parenting and raise their children equally. On the other hand, the boys I interviewed noticed these standards as well. They said it was a relevant and widespread issue and noticed how the guys are expected to do more physical activities like sports and encouraged to be more manly and brave, while girls are taught to be feminine and wear skirts. They understood how it negatively affects both gender. They wanted to say how they know that parents think that they are doing the right thing, but in total, it is usually a harmful practice. In Nigeria, we cannot ignore the prevalence and normalization of double standard parenting. With religious and cultural implications, it is seen as expected for the girls to be quiet and listen to men, that the boys are seen as weak to cry and get upset. When we grow up, this culture is taught and passed down from generation to generation. but it needs to stop due to how harmful it is to us youths. I know many people would ask, why is it so necessary to speak up about this? Too many people think it is an invisible issue that doesn't cause problems, although something as important and complex as parenting needs to be talked about. Parents form the future with their children. Unlearning harmful ways to raise them makes a better future for all. It's not as if this is impossible or needs a lot of work. It's just you as parents putting the effort to unlearn these harmful traits and to be more mindful of how you raise us. For example, you can encourage daughters to do sports or look towards other hobbies. You can teach them values that don't have harmful implications. You can be more mindful about what you say to your sons and daughters. And most importantly, you can teach your son how to make anything past Indomie or egg. I am Omotola Amokeodo, and thank you for listening to my TED Talk.